How's it going, guys? So, just got back from actually a great event here in Jerusalem. It was a what they call an emergency Aliyah conference organized by Josh Wander and Zvi Fishman, and had some great speakers. Just to name a few: Jonathan Pollard, Yishai Fleischer, Ari Abramowitz, Jeremy Gimpel. My friend Yehuda Cohen spoke. A few people. I think it was Eve Harrow, lady by the name of Eve Harrow. Actually, she probably, out of all the people who spoke, really, for me, was the most captivating. Guys, there were two kind of main sentiments. One from the speakers, really. I'll say two and a half. One sentiment was, there's a dire situation in America, and the house is on fire, and we have to get everybody out. Not only in America, in the diaspora. The other angle was more, we have to give people a reason to, or make it easier for them to make Aliyah. We have to create conditions on the ground to where they're going to have a soft landing. To be honest, I think, it's, as we say in the Torah world, it's elu ve'elu. They're both right. Everybody's right, right? The only thing is, I feel like the people who are talking about the house being on fire are a little bit more right, only because things are happening so fast. Meaning, somebody in one of the panels said, in 10 years, the situation is going to be X, Y, and Z, and then Zvi Fishman chimed in. He said, no, not in 10, in 2. I happen to think it's going to be in 1, right? Or maybe less than that. So it's all really a matter of timing, really. But they're both right. Everybody's right. It's interesting because this event wasn't really highly publicized. I think that there wasn't even a flyer for it. It's not, as far as I know. It was kind of a word-of-mouth thing. Most of the people who attended are either people who are kind of interested in the topic, mostly English-speaking Olim, or people who kind of know each other from the social media sphere in the Anglo kind of community here in Israel. So I call it more of a parlor meeting, or like kind of a plan of action meeting, more so than or meeting of the minds, more so than even a conference, even though it wasn't really. You can call it a conference. Usually a conference has hundreds of people in a whole, big, somebody rents out like a hangar, the thing the size of a hangar or something like that, or a convention hall, but okay, it is what it is. I'll say one thing, guys, and I'm going to say it here again because I don't even know if this made it on video, even though they filmed the conference, but I don't think they filmed what I said when I came up to the podium at the end. And it's a question that I wanted to ask both Jonathan Pollard and Yishai Fleischer, especially Yishai Fleischer, because he and I were the only two people essentially at this conference representing the Russian-speaking Jewish community, the former Soviet community. And we actually come from the same town, Fairlawn. Everybody spoke about, visiting communities in America and, talking about like Orthodox communities, Haredi, modern Orthodox, etc., getting them out. I just want to say that's all well and good. But, if you look at this one big community in America, which I'm a part of, called the Russian-speaking community, the former Soviet community, it's a very interesting community. It's a very peculiar community when it comes to Israel. On the one hand, they are very right-wing. They love Israel. Their hero is and was Rabbi Kahana, still is. But on the other hand, most of them are not religious. Most of them, when are you going to find them in shul, in synagogue? You're going to find them in shul when they are you know, maybe they're going to go to Yitzhak, what's called Yitzhak on Yom Kippur, to remember their dead, you know, their parents who passed away, right? That's as far as it goes. You know, when it comes to religion, they don't want to be bothered. So now the question begs, how is anybody really going to get a community of over 1 million people? Folks, we're talking about 1 million Jews, people who left the former Soviet Union. Now you can come and say, well, Tzvi, you know, most of them are not Jewish. Folks, I can tell you honestly, the ones in America, most of them are Jewish. Most of them are halakhically Jewish. A lot of the ones that came from directly to Israel, or even recently to Israel, from the former Soviet Union, you know, from the former Soviet now countries, what used to be republics, are not Jewish, right? There's a lot of Russian-speaking non-Jews in Israel, but I'm talking about the people in America. So to them, how do they view Israel? They love Israel. They're happy to give money to Israel. They're happy to be involved with organizations to help Israel. But they view Israel as the country that they're, you know, some of their relatives and friends went to, and they say those people got on the wrong plane or on the wrong boat, right? And listen, a lot of the people have done well for themselves here in Israel. A lot of the Russian-speaking Jews have done well for themselves. But it took them a while, right? In the long run, they did very well. In the beginning, it was very, very hard for them. They wish they had gone to America, right? And so the Russian-speaking Jews who live in America see Israel as like the poor relative. They see it, some of them even see it as the 51st state, something that, you know, is not going to survive without America's money, America's weapons, you know, people sending stuff to Israel, et cetera, et cetera. You know, they're happy to buy Israeli products, which is, you know, why one of the reasons I do what I do. They're happy to buy Israeli wine. To them, Israel is cute. It's on the one hand cute, on the other hand very tough. It's like a tough, cute relative, you know, plucky, cute. You want to help it. You want to give it money. You know, you want to do hesed for it. But would you live there? Nah, I don't know. Would you send your kids to university there? Maybe. I don't know. Would you let your kids go travel there on birthright? Probably. But what would you say if your kids suddenly became religious and wanted to move to Israel? Folks, this is something that I did a few years ago. And I always like to say that I did equivalent of setting off a nuclear weapon in my family. You know? I have certain family members that get it, even though it's painful for them when I'm away. I have other family members that just are worried for my safety. I have other family members that think everything I'm doing is complete nonsense, literal nonsense, and that I should forget about it. Like, I literally have a family member telling me, forget Israel, just forget it. Forget living there, forget doing this whole religious being in Israel thing. Just forget the whole kit and caboodle, the whole package. Forget it. There's bombs flying, there's this happening, there's these people stabbing, there's these... Folks, this is what they see on TV, especially in the Russian language networks. And to them, it's you know, for me, all things being equal, Israel is safer. To them, so to speak, America's safer. To them, really, to some of these people, the best thing you can do is literally not even leave your house, right? Much less go to Israel. Not even, if you're in America, don't leave your house. If you're Jewish, don't put a mezuzah on your door. Don't show that you're Jewish at all. Just don't leave your house. Shutter your windows. Shutter your doors. That's it. And leave your house to get some food, provisions, whatever it is. Folks, I mean, obviously we know that's no way to live. But these are the mentalities that I have. Some of the mentalities I have in my family. I know people in my who are my peers who also became religious. Some of them also, very few of them who made Aliyah, but most of them did not. You know, again, because of family pressure. Russian-speaking Jews left the Soviet Union to come to America. Why? So that they could have, and their kids could have what they didn't have. And it's all about achievement. It's all about money. a lot of them are finally realizing that maybe it's not just a good idea to want to strive to send your kid to an Ivy League school. There's other schools you can send them to. Folks, the question is at this point, which schools? If your kid is Jewish, what school are you going to send them to? College, I'm talking about university. You're going to send them to, folks, I can think of 3 schools, literally 3, actually 2. Yeshiva University and Touro College. Folks, my sister, she's a graduate of NYU. She just said today, if she were to be applying to NYU today, and they would accept her, she wouldn't go. She wouldn't force my parents to pay whatever they paid. The crazy amount of money that they paid to send her there. She wouldn't force them. She would, take a scholarship, go on scholarship to YU. She probably would have gotten a scholarship, or Touro. That's where she would have gone. You have 2 choices, or she would have gone. I don't know where. Seriously, I don't know where. Where she would have gone. Not UCLA, not Cornell. Oh, Brandeis. That's the other one. 3 schools, folks. 3. And by the way, she was offered a scholarship to Brandeis. Why didn't she go to Brandeis? Because on the tour, folks, they already had all kinds of woke stuff, and I think now the administration is realizing, maybe not such a good idea. Finally, right? My friend says the media makes things worse than it really is. America is less safer than Israel. Yeah, I mean, they both have their, let's say, security challenges. But if they both have security challenges, so then all things are equal. And if all things are equal, you might as well be home. That's the calculus, folks. So back to the Russian Jew thing. So they don't really have that consciousness. Forget about religion. Yeah, some of them are interested, Another peculiar thing about Russian-speaking Jews in America, if they do involve themselves in anything religious, it will be Chabad. Meaning, they're not going to necessarily become Chabad, but they will go to Chabad, right? They go to Chabad, because Chabad does great work with Russian-speaking Jews, because Chabad originated in Ukraine, right? And Russia as well. They did a lot of work in all those places. So, we never, you'll rarely see, unless you go to certain communities in America, you'll rarely see Russian-speaking Jews attending Reform and conservative shuls. Very, very rarely. Not to say they don't, but it's rare. Maybe the younger generation, but not so much. So it's a very interesting community. If they start doing anything traditional, it's with the Orthodox rabbis, who know kind of like, so to speak, the buttons to push to get them in there. Otherwise they don't, but yet they're very right-wing. Again, Rebbe Kahana was their, hero. He did a lot of work with Russian-speaking Jews. The JDL is their thing. Being right-wing is their thing. Most of them, even though a lot of them did go sour on Trump, most of them vote for Trump. And actually, that's the thing. A lot of them still think if only we just get Trump back, he's gonna save everybody. He's gonna rectify this whole situation on campuses and with Palestinians and with Muslims, etc., etc., etc. Folks, I hate to say it. As much as I'm a fan, it's not gonna happen. Meaning he probably would get elected, but it's gonna be, so to speak, too little, too late. And so now the question is, how do you galvanize 1 million Jews? Folks, again, I'm gonna tell you, and I mentioned this before. If you write out the word or the acronym for USSR in Russian, it's SSSR, right? So if you write out SSSR or SSSR in Hebrew, it's Samach, 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 Resh. The gematria, the numerical value of Samach, 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 Resh is 380, which is the same numerical value as Mitzrayim, the Hebrew word for Egypt, Mitzrayim, which is 380. Folks, so how do you galvanize, how do you get into the consciousness of over 1 million Jews who left the modern day Mitzrayim to come to, so to speak, the modern day, I don't know, Babel maybe? Or Rome, or I don't know what. The Golden Medina, what they used to call the Golden Medina. how do you now get them to have a consciousness that, hey, we know that you uprooted yourselves once already, and the place you uprooted yourselves to, you and your children succeeded, and you achieved everything, and basically everything as a collective. Really, we did. And success, as we say in Russian, vyше kryshe, higher than the roof. You can't get higher, right? Sergey Brin created Google, Jan Koum created WhatsApp. Folks, I can really off a few Russian Jews who made an impact in this world. People who came directly from the Soviet Union to America. And so how do you tell those people, okay guys, the situation is now high time, and the situation, what we thought was America is no longer the America that we thought it was, no matter who you vote for, no matter what your political stances are, and you're no longer safe in America, and it's only going to get worse, and now it's time to go to Israel. And listen, it's one thing if you're like my parents, and the rest of my family, and even other people in my family who are the naysayers, and yet who have somebody like me harping in their ear for 14 years, and kind of, so to speak, scouting out the land and preparing, laying the groundwork a little bit here and there, or at least getting information or reconnaissance to where, I'll be able to help, or I'll be able to facilitate certain things, maybe not everything, but certain things from my own family and other people who are close to me. It's one thing when you have somebody, again, I'm not tooting my own horn, I'm just giving an example, somebody like me, or I have other friends who are doing similar things. Very few, you can count them literally on one hand. Russian-speaking young Jews like myself, maybe younger, who have either taken the steps to actually made Aliyah, or taken steps towards Aliyah. But most people don't have those people around them, or in their families. They don't have that, even like a moral infrastructure, if you want to call it. So what do you do with those people? It's one thing you're talking about, a lot of people talk about Orthodox Jews. Oh, those guys are stuck in their communities in Lakewood and Brooklyn and Muncie and Passaic and Pico and Miami and all those communities in Chicago, whatever it is. But folks, I'm telling you, like, for Orthodox Jews, if they want to pick up, and if they really are, kind of wake up and realize, oh man, maybe I should go to Eretz Israel and pick up and leave tomorrow, they really can. Why? Because they have cousins here, and brothers here, and sisters here, and relatives here, and maybe parents, maybe grandparents, or maybe a son or a daughter or whatever, or siblings. There is already an infrastructure here for them. Not only that, they already have that mindset, even if they're not super Zionistic or super, we call blue and white. If they're more black and white, as Yishai Fleischer said today, if they're more Haredi black hat, they still grew up with that mindset of, Eretz Israel is Eretz Israel. These people have been to yeshiva here, so they already have that background, that understanding. Okay, like, it's not weird to make Aliyah. Yeah, it's not our thing, maybe politically, but it's not weird. If we have to make Aliyah, we will. But folks, for a lot of Russian-speaking Jews, most Russian-speaking Jews in America, it's weird to make Aliyah. If you make Aliyah, you're a weirdo. Folks, I'm a weirdo. I am a weirdo in general, but I'm the weirdo of my family. Even people, young Jews like myself, Russian-speaking Jews who meet me, and they've been to Israel multiple times, and they've been on these, so to speak, yeshiva programs, and they've learned Torah, and they've started even keeping Shabbat, and they live Torah lives in America. They look at me and they say, Tzvi, I'd love to make Aliyah, but what am I going to do there for income for Parnasa? Where am I going to live there? Man, what am I going to do there? Oh man, there's all these problems there. There's all this, all that, the banks are not open on the same hours every day. This, that, apartment, real estate, da-da-da-da-da. Folks, and sometimes I have answers for them, sometimes I don't. But it's a pipe dream for them. It's really a pipe dream for them, mainly because of their background, mainly because of their families, mainly because of, again, you don't just, you guys ever see that meme where the guy goes, one does not simply, and fill in the blank, in a Russian Jewish family, in America, in Russian-speaking Jewish family in America, one does not simply make Aliyah. This is why American Jews in America who have made Aliyah, Anglo Jews who have made Aliyah, they don't understand me. They don't understand me when they say, oh, just tell your parent, why don't your parents just come? Bring them here. What do you mean bring them here? What are they, inanimate objects? What are they, furniture? Bring them here. I had a lady just now say, she's like, watch out for yourself. You can't base your life movements or your kind of decisions on other people, even if it's people in your family. She's like, I tried to get my sisters to come for years and years and years, and they're in wherever they are, South Africa, and they're stuck, and I'm she's the only one with kids and with grandkids. All her siblings are single, and this and that and the other. Folks, I mean, in our community, folks, I mean, there are sub-communities in the Russian-speaking Jewish communities, like, for example, Bukharian Jews. Ain't nobody go nowhere unless everybody's going. Again, one does not simply go and make Aliyah to Israel by themselves. Folks, those of you watching, Bukharians, you know what I'm talking about. Kafkazi Jews, as much as there's a ton of Bukharian and Kafkazi Jews here in Israel, and everybody has cousins and aunts and uncles here in Israel, all you folks in Queens and Brooklyn, one does not simply make Aliyah by themselves, folks. It's either everyone's going or ain't nobody going. So, folks, I mean, I set off a nuclear weapon, and now I have a friend coming to me and telling me, he goes, because I mentioned something about, the day that I transported vests, bulletproof vests to be given to soldiers, right? I brought it to the Shomron, and I said, my grandfather, who was born in Berdichev, he was in World War II, and he was involved in army supply, and he was a colonel, and he went through Stalingrad, and I just did 1/100th of what he did, right? And a friend of mine chimed in and he said to me, your grandfather is looking down at you right now, and he's saying, that he wishes he could do what you did. He could be involved in what you're involved in. And I'm saying, yeah, that may be true. That may be true. My grandfather grew up as a Torah observant Jew until he was 12 years old in Berdichev, But at the same time, again, there was a broken Masorah, there was a broken tradition, which, basically skipped a generation, so to speak, in my family, or certain sides of my family. It got completely destroyed. It got completely erased, meaning not that my family got erased, but the Torah tradition got kind of, postponed for a generation, and now we continue, with myself and my sister and my cousins, who are, or at least one of my cousins in Baal Tshuva. I have another cousin who was a Baal Tshuva, still, keeps here and there. So we continue, but that is half the battle. Half the battle is within families and within communities and within mentalities and within sensibilities and within very, very thick, as we call it in Kabbalah, klipot, husks that have to be shed. It's taken me 15 years, damn near 15 years, to chip away at it. Whether it's with myself, and first and foremost with myself, to believe that certain things are possible in my life and in terms of vis-a-vis Israel and certain things that I want to do here and accomplish, but also to chip away at people around me. And, I guess in a way, it's sad that I had to come to this. It's sad that we had to have an October 7th, and also this whole situation on campuses and all the rest of it. But in a way, it's helping my cause, maybe. But maybe now the iron is hot. I don't know. Again, I wish it wasn't like we said at this conference. We want people to come to Israel because Israel has what you know, there's a mission here because Israel is inviting you, so to speak, because there's positive things here, because people want to go to Israel, not away from America. Like I was, you know, I had to, this is what I was telling my family. I was telling them that I'm not escaping, at that time, I wasn't escaping America at all. I was going to Israel. I wasn't, you know, it's almost like somebody saying, why don't you want to, you know, there's a choice of, let's say, dating two people. Why don't you want to date this one? You hate them? No, it's not that I hate them. It's that I like this person more, right? It's got nothing to do with hate, right? Just that I find that this place is my home, and that place is nice for other people, but it's not home, right? But I think right now it's kind of this delicate balance between telling people or showing people that there is a mission here, right, in Israel. There is a Jewish mission, overall Jewish mission, but also things are about to get a little hairier in the diaspora, especially in America, in a place where we thought we were completely safe, on campuses where we thought we were finally accepted. You know, Harvard, for example, which had quotas on Jews, you know, Yale actually did not, but you see what's going on. Guys, you see what's going on. I don't have to tell you. I don't have to tell you. So, there's a lot of battles to fight. Internal, external, within families, inside of ourselves. In particular communities, more than others. Not that, you know, there's every community has its own battles. And kind of like things that are, you know, veils, things that are blocking people from seeing what needs to be done. Again, within the Orthodox community in America, it's one battle. In the Russian-speaking community in America, it's another battle. And then you go to the, you know, just straight up like secular American community. That's a whole other thing. That you want to talk about, you know, blind in every aspect, disconnected in every aspect. We're not even talking about Torah anymore. We're not even talking about, you know, at least with the Russians, you have Kahana, you have, you know, Israel is great, and right wing, and this and that and the other, and religious, you have the Torah, you know, Eretz Israel. But if you're talking about the Jews who are like completely secular, completely assimilated, when was the last time they were involved with their Jewishness at all? Really, like, in a serious way. I'm not talking about just going to like temple. Maybe what, 1967, 1973, when a lot of them, you know, volunteered in the kibbutzim. But other than that, folks, they've been largely disconnected for a very long time. Most of them are intermarrying. Most of them are falling off the map. And again, it's sad that it had to happen this way. It's sad that it took this massacre, Baba Yar style, and it's sad that it's happening on campuses and all over society. But a lot of the people are waking up. A lot of people say it's not enough people. I mean, I'm seeing a good amount of people waking up. At least their kids are waking up, thank God. So, listen, folks, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what to take away from this conference. What to take away is that, you know, there was one of the guys at the end, he said, you know, people, especially in the Orthodox world, are fragmenting themselves into subgroups, you know, Chabad, Litvak, Sephardi, this, that, Breslov, Folks, if we're in the Frum community, if we're in the religious community, and I understand that there's this whole idea of we had tribes. Listen, we don't have these tribes anymore. We have to unite in terms of, we have to unite around the Torah, right? And then once the religious community, once the community that's actually connected to the Torah, the part of the Jewish community that are actually following the Torah, unite, then we can work, we can go inward and work our way out. Then we can start bringing in the Russian-speaking Jews and, you know, the totally assimilated Jews and everybody else who isn't completely lost yet, who isn't completely sucked into the, the tents that are funded by, you know, George Schwartz. I mean, Soros. My real last name is Schwartz. So yeah, folks, I mean, here in Jerusalem, heading back to the States in less than a week. And, you know, now the job is to wake up as many people as possible, even if it's 3, even if it's 4, even if it's only your own family and a couple of the people around. But, you know, if all of us do that, then we'll get enough people, you know, and the people we don't get will be woken up by the situation. And hopefully they'll be able to react fast enough. You know, somebody said at this conference, they're not gonna, actually, a rabbi asked somebody in a community in the Northeast, they said, when are you actually gonna, what is it gonna take for you to make Aliyah and people in your community? Well, the rabbi answered, when blood flows in the streets. And I'm thinking to myself, why do people wait till that moment? Why does it have to, there's not enough blood already? October 7th and the colleges, there's not enough blood. They need more blood, folks. Jews are weird. People are weird. Jews are weird. Human beings are weird. But I really hope it doesn't get to that point. I really hope people just start seeing the writing on the wall and the signs, really. And folks, I'll leave you this. This is the thing. Josh Wander showed us in the beginning of the conference something somebody made. It's basically a cover, a camouflager for mezuzot, for mezuzahs, in case you need to camouflage your mezuzah. Folks, if someone is making camouflagers for mezuzahs, that's literally a sign, quite literally a sign, that it's time to get the heck out of the diaspora. I don't know what else you want, short of blood, God forbid. Anyway, guys, I have other thoughts, but that's all I'll say for now, and talk to you soon. Peace.